Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Double A. It is your favorite podcasters, Amber and Arianne. So, Amber, today is your Piss You Off Thursday, but this time it's a double feature.
It is. Guys, I apologize. I'm not doing too well today. I told you'll learn in season 2 why I usually don't feel well. I'm going to have to sage before we do this because this case, they're both of them. We're going to need some good positivity. And this is
So
a
for
real
our anchor listener, she's getting her scents and
I'm just going to get all the negativity out and cleanse our body. Well, me, it's just me over here. Then we'll cleanse my mind and just make sure that I go through this and really not get pissed off. I got eucalyptus and chamomile in here where I'll be letting my sage just kind of gather. And let's get into these cases because they are sure to piss you off. Now, the very first case that we'll get into is not that long, but it is deep. And the second one, it consists of a very long timeline, and it really pisses me off. Both cases involve children. Both are here in the United States. The first one's rather old, and the second one's fairly new. So we'll get into the first one. Let me move my microphone closer. That way you are sure to hear everything that I say. Okay. So the first is the unsolved murder. And this is a little girl that had been dubbed Little Miss Nobody. She was between the ages of 2 to 7. They were unable to identify exactly what age. So that's why there's a huge gap. They suggest she's about 55 pounds, and they state that she's about 3 feet 6 inches. They could not determine what her ethnicity was or what her race is. All they can tell you is she was found in Congress, Yavapai County, Arizona on July 31st, 1960. So about 60 years ago, Reverend Charles Franklin Parker, who is the native of this city, stated with his eyes full of tears, "Here's a little wanderer who has been in our midst. We don't know her name. We can only guess her age. It occurs we may not know, but God knows. There are no unknowns, no orphans in God's world." The remains of this nameless child was found by a rock-hunting school teacher. The teacher saw a partially decomposed body of a half-buried girl a short distance from the intersection of Alamo Road and State Highway 93, where near the town Congress in Yavapai County, Arizona. At that time, the highway was the main route between Phoenix, Arizona, and Las Vegas, Nevada. So there was a lot of traffic. So you can see a lot from this street. Evidence nearby where the girl was found suggests that a responsible party buried her, the one that buried her intended, but yet unsuccessfully, to dig a grave in the area. But of course, the grave wasn't just good enough. We have yet to figure out why she was half buried, but we just know that they tried. The investigators thought that it was done out of poverty and it was the best that they could do. They also said that they found a bloodstained knife near the body, but yet they were never positively bear with me, they were never positively able to connect it to the case. It is noted that when she was found, she was wearing shorts, a checkered blouse, and she had bright red nail polish on her fingers and her toenails. She was also wearing adult-sized flip-flops that had been altered and cut down to fit her feet. The medical examiner stated that her body was so badly decomposed that a cause of death was unable to be determined. In the county, there was a local DJ, He gathered the community and initiated the funeral and burial arrangements. He got the residents to pitch in cash and in-kind donations. This included flowers and a tombstone. About 70 people showed up to lay her to rest properly. She had a pale blue casket with pink flowers and white carnations. Over the decades, people visit her gravesite and they leave her toys or other mementos. Later on, there was an exhumation of the girl's remains. Her body, or her bones and her skull, were still intact. This exhumation was funded by the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, which is shortened to be NCMEC. Based on the examination of her skull, an image or a likeliness of what she would have looked like was able to be made. During this time, her dental and her skeletal remains were sent to the University of North Texas Center for Human Identification. At that time, forensic scientists were able to generate a DNA profile and enter into all of the national databases. Due to the change in forensics over time, we do ask that anyone who remembers a family member, a friend, or a neighbor that went missing during that time to speak up so we can give this nameless child a better name that's way better than Little Miss Nobody and figure out how and why she was murdered. Guys, please forgive me, my head is hurting excruciatingly right now. You can contact the cold case investigator regarding this case. His name is John Shannon. His number is 928-777-7293. Or you can submit an anonymous tip to the Yavapai Silent Witness line, and that is at 800-932-3232. So before we move on, Arianne, what do you think of that?
It's sad.
Very sad.
It's very, very sad to have a child that hadn't even reached its double digits yet.
Right.
To have, I mean, you can't just imagine how much torture she was put through, because to the point where, you can't even determine what the cause of death is. That's bad, regardless of how decomposed the body is. There's always some kind of something in like your bone fragments, skull fragments, anything that could be even a possibility of what could have been the cause of death. And for it to not even have a speck of that, that's so sad. That's so saddening. And then I can't imagine, a parent that, many kids that's the sad part, many kids go missing, and it's like, if you're a parent and you're just like wondering where your kids are, you're calling police officers, or maybe this poor child didn't have any family. That's still heartbreaking. It's very, very heartbreaking.
So
And I've got her notes right beside me. So if you see me looking back, I'm actually reading her notes with her.
Yeah, I had to send her the notes because, okay, well, I spent a long time on these cases, and for me to only get just a little bit on this case really pissed me off. But I sent her over 16 pages of my research. So that's why I was like, hey, look through this with me because it's a lot to go through. When I was researching her, there's not much on her. Every single news outlet, website, anything I could find had even less than this. This was the most I could compile.
And that's the sad part. I mean, for a child not to have any kind of family that came forward, and honestly, there may have been some people that said, hey, I have a child that went missing, and the bad part is can't identify the body. It's badly decomposed. You can't even identify it.
Pissed me off the most. The reason why I chose this case is because when I was going through all, you guys know my famous stack of cases, and my eyes fell on the name Little Miss Nobody. That pissed me off. Like, everybody is somebody. Why would you call her nobody? And the fact that she was just a little girl, not even in her pre-teen stage. She's still in the prime of her adolescence, the prime of her, like, in between a toddler and growing. Like, she's little. Like,
And
could
can you
not
imagine a
when she
55-pound child? A 55-pound child.
what
Okay.
what could have happened?
Like anything could have happened, and it's really bad that if I'm pretty sure an adult did this. So to
Maybe, but maybe not. And I say that because a lot of the time we find that our serial killers or just any kind of murders, most of the time their
yeah, it
signs
could have been a
show,
teenager.
yeah, so it could have been like a sibling, it could have been a friend that was starting to explore their rage and their urge, and probably already did start off with animals, and at that time they weren't as monitored outside as it is now, so they probably started with little bunnies, little cats, and then nothing's like that very first rush that you get with your first kill. So to top that off, they got their little sister or their cousin or the neighborhood girl. And I completely agree with investigators about this being done out of poverty. And there's many reasons why I agree with that. For one, the shoes. They obviously came to me, they're like hand me downs. And that time there was a lot of poverty. There still is, but in that time they were better at improvising. Um, so I feel like the shoes either belong to an older sister or a mother, somebody, and they're like, here, just wear these shoes. And I don't feel like that those shoes came from the killer. I just feel like that's what she was used to. But you could tell
But
that,
it said that it was cut to fit her.
yeah, that's why I feel like they were passed down. They were altered because they didn't have anything. I feel like they couldn't afford it to get
Right,
the
right. I
shoes.
get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I feel like another reason why this was done out of poverty, I also feel like it's a cover up, because if it is a sibling, in that time, a lot of families, they already lost one child. They don't want to lose everyone else. Let me fix my camera because my eyes are getting out of there. But they've already lost a child, so they don't want to lose another one. So they cover it up. And what's the best way to cover it up than dump a body, where basically it was dumped, and around trees and stuff, and you try your own burial and you just say, we don't speak of this. There was a lot of that in that time, a lot of hush hush, don't speak of it. And it wasn't necessarily because they didn't care about the deceased, it was just what was going to happen to their world now that they were living in. Some people thought the deceased is already gone, but we have to protect the living, which is a very sad thought because you're protecting a sociopath that can
Right.
go out and continue that. Um, this is a very tragic story, but somebody knows. Somebody knows what happened. And for it to go on this long, either the person has passed away or the person has probably made themselves believe that it didn't happen. So to them, it's fictional. To them, it's just a dream they had. Maybe just just my assumption, but it's a very peculiar case because there's nothing but a bone.
I mean,
Absolutely nothing.
but for it to have nothing in the case, because like I'm rereading everything,
Mhm.
and just for it to have like hardly anything. Like I agree with you. Somebody knows something, and even if this happened a long time ago, family secrets get passed down,
Yeah,
in generations.
Yeah.
and it's just kept like either longer down the line it becomes like a family like almost like a myth,
An urban
just a
legend.
told, yeah,
Yeah.
just a story that was told and passed
And nobody
down.
actually believes
We
it.
don't know if it's really true. There's no,
Yeah.
the bad part is there's no definite evidence to
Yeah.
prove.
But you know
Even
that
if
the
that
child is
person says, look, I have this, uh, from the child, how do we know it's, how would they know it really came from that child? Because nobody,
and a lot of
sadly,
times back
nobody's
then,
claimed that child is
yeah.
there. So there's
Back
nobody
then
that
a
can
child was
really
told to keep
verify.
their mouth shut. You know? If a child was to
Right.
come forward, mind your business. This is grown folks' business. You don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
Hush. So if you're being told to hush, if you saw that and you're being told to hush, kids, they have a short attention span. They let that go, they move on. But fragments of that comes back to them in a dream or something. But no matter what, this case is so disturbing. And this should haunt you. Whoever knows anything, this should haunt you. This case should very much make you not want to close your eyes, even after 60 years. This case, to be so little, it's a very haunting case.
Right.
And I hope that she haunts that whole bloodline. I really do. So
She
we're gonna,
probably is.
so if anybody's heard, if you have a family myth, urban legend, story, if this is your great aunt death or something, let us know. Let somebody know. Bring this girl bring the truth forward. Bring this girl the honest to God truth so everyone knows what happened to her. I'm sure she can't pass on. I'm sure she's stuck in this realm. She's stuck because something's not right. So we're gonna move on to the longer case. In this case, I'm gonna have to take my time with this simply because I don't feel well and there's a lot of information to go over. Arianne, please do step in if you can, if you would like at any point, because it's such a long case. And this one pisses me off almost more than the first one because everybody involved is alive except maybe the child. We don't know.
Mm.
So this one is the unsolved missing persons case. And this one is about Kyron Harmon. You can pronounce this name as Kyron or Kyron, depending on your dialect. It is spelled Kyron. So however you prefer, in your native, you do that. But Kyron was born on September the 9th, 2002. And he disappeared on June the 4th, 2010. He was 7 years old when he disappeared. So I'm going to give you a little condensed version first and a little overview before we break down the timeline. And it's a long timeline. So what we do know is that on June 4th, which was a very exciting day for Kieran, he had a science fair that day. And he was so anxious ready to get to school with his project. His stepmother actually took him to school, and his school was called Skyline Elementary School. It was located in Portland, Oregon. Karen was in the second grade. So just imagine, the excitement of the second grade and you're doing something that great. He wore one of his favorite shirts, which was from CSI, which a lot of people love.
Mm-hmm.
He was wearing glasses and, he was just a bright, happy kid. That was a great day. And when you see photos, and guys, I have photos, you'll see this kid was so happy and he looked so smart. And he was just a joy to look at. That morning, his stepmother, Terry Horman, took him to school and she took a picture of him standing next to his science fair project. It was a cardboard box that had green on it, and it was displayed as the red-eyed tree frog. And guys, his little project looked so cute. I was so happy when I saw that. I knew he was going to have a great day. She watched him walk down the hall to his class, and at that point, she left the school, and it was about 8:45. An hour later, Kieran was missing. He was never present for that class, and he was marked absent for the complete day. So now we wonder, where did he go? Well, that afternoon, his stepmother, his father, and their youngest daughter went to the bus stop to meet Karen. However, all the kids got off the bus. Karen never did. So there was questions with the bus driver. Bus driver told the father, Karen never even got on the bus. So there's a lot of concern going on. Bus driver immediately calls the school secretary. The secretary's like, hey, he was marked absent all day. So there's a lot of concern. How is he marked absent if he was dropped off? So at that point, the secretary got the police involved. And then this case grew rapidly, got all the attention of the local news outlets and the press. And even though I wrote in my notes library, they actually set up shop at a church nearby. And they started to call this church, this little location, Camp Kyron. This is where police would come back and they would deliver their news to the reporters and get that to all the media. This became the biggest investigation in Oregon's history to this day, with more than 1,300 people from Oregon, Washington, North Carolina, all looking for him. There was a 2-mile radius around the school and parts of the Sauvie Island, which is about 6 miles from the school, that were also searched. It was so big that it gathered the attention of major outlets and platforms like Oprah, Dr. Phil, Good Morning America, Today Show, Nancy Grace, and all the such like that. It ran in all the local newspapers, the magazine, and they even got 100 T-shirts with his name, his missing poster printed on it. And they just gave them out for free. They got it all done for free and passed it out, and they got posters made up and everything. With so much going on so fast and so rapidly, the family did decide to stay away from the media for about a week, take some time to themselves. And then after that, they did emerge and they joined a press conference. And in this conference, the reporters noticed their body language, and they noted that the family seemed tense and seemed very eerie. So sometimes after that news conference, the boy's mother, Desiree Young, she went on to basically accuse the stepmother very publicly. She felt like Terry was withholding information. She started to describe Terry as a horrible person, and she felt like she knew that Terry was involved. She always wanted the police to put in the pressure on her, but Terry just kept denying it, stating that there was nothing that she did. Also, another thing that reporters had noticed during that conference, which I failed to mention, was the body language between Terry and Desiree. Terry cried on Desiree's shoulder and was holding her hand. As we all know, most stepmothers and actual mothers, most of them don't have good relationships. Very few do. So this stuck out to them. It didn't seem like a typical behavior because, like I said, not all divided families have a unit like that. The Say this word for me, Arianne, if you can. The Multnomah. The Multnomah.
The Multnomah County Grand Jury.
Yeah, they decided not to indict Terry, even though she failed 2 separate polygraph tests.
Yes, I read that ahead of you.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God. Even before you said anything, as soon as the first part where she watched him get into his first class, and then that's when she left, but he never attended class.
Yeah.
That's a red flag that pops up immediately. Yeah.
So all the skim over that we're doing, just pay very attention to clues in here, because when we break down this timeline, a lot of things are going to circle back. So the grand jury, they did not indict her, even though she failed 2 separate polygraph tests. She had an interview with Dr. Phil, and this is what she told Dr. Phil. I'm hard of hearing. I didn't quite understand what they were saying. I don't understand why I failed. I told the truth. So
I
we
want to
all
watch.
know.
Did the Dr. Phil episode come live? Because now I want to watch it.
We would have to search. I did not search the Doctor. I did not search the main
I'm gonna
outlet.
have to search it.
Yeah, I did. What I did was I searched the local outlets because that's where you're going to get your best information. It's locally. That I knocked that over. That wasn't a ghost or a spirit. That was me. but but yeah, I want when we get to the breakdown, I do want to thank the Oregon reporters and their newspaper and everybody that put information together because the breakdown came directly from the state of Oregon. And I think their website is Oregon Live. They broke it down so awesomely so I can read it to you guys. But anyway, on with what she was saying with Dr. Phil. We know how polygraph tests work. They can be misinterpreted, they can be manipulated, but it's it's very rare that that can happen. We do know that they ask you a series of questions, and they're not all just about the case. They ask you anything. They ask you about your hair color, your eye. They ask you your date of birth, your name, your parents' name. They ask you stuff that they know that you know, and then they ask you stuff that they know that you don't know. So based on how your heart rhythm is, based on how your brain function is on those questions, determines your honesty and your not so honest answers.
Right.
So when they actually integrate the questions of the case, what color is your eyes? What was Karen wearing? How old is your mother? What is the math equation of blah blah blah? And I only know that because I was watching Criminal Minds last night. But anyway, then they're like, what was Karen doing? What time did he go to school? Blah blah blah. So based on that, her body language, her body function was very obvious that she failed. There's no possible way that she could have passed with knowing what she knew. So I don't believe for anything when she said that she had nothing to do with that. I believe she had a lot to do with this. Um. Anyway, on June 1st, 2012, Desiree filed a civil lawsuit against Terry, and this was because her mother's intuition. She's always said from the beginning.
Rightfully so.
Yeah,
Right.
she felt like, duh, she's responsible. Plus, she was the last person that saw him.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Supposedly claims that she'd seen him go into class that the class never seen.
Yeah,
And now, mind you, second grade teachers are
they're
90%
on it.
of the time they're outside the classroom greeting their students when they
Hmm.
come in. I'm pretty sure they would have seen him.
But what strikes me as odd is, um, she didn't walk them to class. When I take my kids to school, actually, like I used before I got sick, I I would take my kids to school. Even if I got late to work, I would walk them to their classroom and make sure they made it to their classroom, talk to their teachers, and some of their teachers watch us, and they can tell you that's true. We'll talk.
What strikes me as really odd was that she had the her daughter or her child
Yeah.
on the bus, but she had her husband, which is his dad, make sure that they were at the bus stop to supposedly greet this child that was not there. It was almost kind of like a cover up. Like there was this one case a long time ago where the dad had killed the child, but made sure that all the other kids supposedly see him. He took a different route so that he could cross paths with his other kids, that his other kids can be an alibi for him basically. It said, "Oh yeah, my dad left to go to work." But he then circled around and killed I think his like youngest child or whatever.
And what I'd never found if this was like a regular occurrence for them, if they normally went to this bus stop and met. And I never found if it was that Terry normally dropped them off, or if she just dropped them off because of the science fair. And I believe there was a talent show. So I didn't really get what their normal pattern was, but there's a lot. We're gonna and I probably overlooked it in my research because, guys, I've been researching this since last week, since right after Arianne's episode last week. I've been researching this, so it's a lot to it. I'm hot and I'm cold. I'm clothed. I am. I promise I am. And I have a shawl, but I'm hot and I'm cold. I'm not feeling right. So I'm not naked, guys that are looking at me. But anyway, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna finish what I was telling you. So she did say that she really did feel like Terry kidnapped him. So what she did was she sought for 10 million in damages.
Right.
And Terry actually filed a motion to delay that lawsuit, but on August 15th, 2012, the jury denied that. A federal judge denied that motion. But a year later, on July 30th, 2013, Desiree had to drop that lawsuit that she had because it was going to interfere with the police investigation, which
Right.
I think that's stupid, but I understand. But I think it's
But I
stupid.
mean, it's good to know that the mother immediately there was no what is it, second thought about it. As soon as she was told that it's going to be interfering, she's like, fine, I'll
Yeah,
drop
because
it because I need this done
she picked her
now.
child over getting money.
You're
Because at
right.
that point, the lawsuit honestly is nothing. It's second to none. Like your child.
Compared to getting justice for your child.
Yeah, that's number one. So I respect Desiree and I honor her, but I think it's stupid that a lawsuit would get in the way of an investigation. I don't understand that. I don't understand the judicial side of that.
Yeah.
But going further, this year is the 10th year of his disappearance. He actually would have graduated high school in June. So
That's so
think about
sad.
that, guys.
That's so sad.
He didn't get to finish elementary school. He didn't get to go to middle school. He never went to high school. He never had a first dance. Never had a date.
Nothing like
Mom,
that.
nothing. He did not get to experience the things that you got to experience.
And who knows? He may have been in top honor classes. He may have been gotten into like one of the highest colleges.
He looked
I
like
mean,
a very smart kid.
right. I mean, we can never know, and neither can his mother, which I'm pretty sure
She's
just devastates
pissed.
her.
She's pissed. And you, as a mother listening to this, should be pissed too. This case should ruffle the feathers of
Dude,
everyone.
I'm not even a mother myself,
Yeah,
but I love all my kids.
yeah.
So it's
This,
like, why? I still don't understand why anybody would put any kind of harm towards a child. Period.
I
Point
don't
blank.
know.
Period. Regardless, there's a difference between disciplining your child to teach them what's right and wrong, and teaching them to grow up to know what's right and wrong and to do the right thing and wanting a better life for them. And then there's the complete opposite of just beating them just to beat them.
Yeah,
An innocent child that doesn't know why you're beating them. They just think that they're a bad child because you're beating them for no reason.
yeah.
And then you hurt them. That is so sad. Oh my
It
god.
is. Okay. Let's see.
So no one's been charged.
Yeah. To this day, they have not been charged. There's no suspect. There's nothing, even though Terry has been in
Right.
and out of the case as an obvious person of interest. There's no one that they can really say did this. So Desiree just says, I want Terry to do the right thing and I want her to end this torture. I want
Right.
I just want Karen home, that is the true statement. Like, come on now, do the right thing. What did Karen do to deserve that? Or what did you need? So I started thinking before we get to the breakdown, because we're about to do the timeline, and here I will switch and let Arianne do some of this timeline because it's swarming. But this right here is the prime, to me, just an outsider looking in, just briefing over this case. To me, this has all the names of sex trafficking on it. I believe Kyron has been sex trafficked.
I don't know. Probably, there could be a numerous thing. It could be that she could have honestly killed him, and
I don't think she killed him. I really don't feel like she killed him.
I mean, there could be multiple cases. I'm just saying, that's a high possibility too.
Definitely.
Like, and I mean,
this case
to fail 2 polygraph tests and to not, be indicted for it, like, and not to investigate her further from that 2 polygraph.
Without going to the deep and thorough breakdown of the timeline, I will let you know this family is a Caucasian family. Everybody involved is Caucasian. So you have to ask, could this be some form of privilege for Terry? Could there be a cover-up for Terry? What could be going on in this? Because something is definitely not right. I feel like something's definitely not being done the proper way. Something's going on here. And is it too far of a reach to say that in some kind of way Terry's been privileged to keep her life in the free world? So we're gonna go on with the breakdown of the timeline. I'm gonna switch on and let Arianne go this so I can calm my body down.
Okay, so we have Kyron and Terry arrive at the school. A billboard outside read June 4th, Inquiry Expo 8 to 10, Talent Show 1 to 2:45. Kyron was supposed to take part in both Expo, or Science Fair, whatever you want to call it, and the talent show. At 8:15 a.m., Skyline PTA President Gina Zimmerman arrived at the school and saw Kyron with his stepmother in front of his exhibit, hence why she's got the picture.
Proof.
Terry Harmon left the school at 8:45 a.m., which is 30 minutes after that, after taking that picture, after watching Kyron walk into his classroom. Then at 9 a.m., another student had reported seeing Kyron near the south entrance of Skyline. The class began at 10, and sometime after, his homeroom teacher, Christina Porter, reported Kyron absent. Again, since supposedly he walked into his classroom at 8:45, a teacher would have seen him one point or another, but only one student supposedly seen him.
And it was at an entrance, which could be used as an exit.
Or what Bailey Syrian says, suspicious. This is suspicious written all over it. Suspicious. All over it. So then class began at 10 a.m. Sometime after, his homeroom teacher, like I said, Christina Porter, reported him missing. At 1:21 p.m., absent. At 1:21 p.m., Terry Moulton Harmon, which is the stepmother, posted the picture of Kyron and his project to her Facebook page.
Covering tracks.
Typical. Terry and Kyron's father, Kane Harmon, went to meet at the school bus at 3:30 p.m. and discovered that Kyron had been absent from school all day. Suspicious written all over it. So at 3:46, the school secretary, Susan Hall, called 911 to report Kyron missing. About 45 minutes later, officers from the Portland Police Bureau of Multnomah County Sheriff's Office arrived simultaneously at the school and Kyron's home. Mind you, that's still a lot for a child missing. That's still a big time gap. Because you meet at 3:30, and then at 3:46, that's when she called 911. I mean,
a lot could happen within the first hour.
That's still 15. Yeah. That's still 15 minutes. 15 minutes when it comes to a child. That 15 minutes is way too long, honestly.
Yeah.
So then an hour later at 5:30 p.m., a broadcast was sent out to phones of parents in Portland public schools that read, Kyron Harmon did not arrive at home today. And then at 7 p.m., Multnomah County Sheriff's Detective Sergeant Lee Gosson alerted Sergeant Travis Goldberg, the county's on-call coordinator for search and rescue efforts, of the need to begin a formal missing persons for Kyron. Wasn't Amber Alert available at that time?
Yeah.
I think Amber Alert was available at that time.
I'm fighting with my animals, y'all.
So between 7 and 7:15 p.m., the Multnomah County Public Information Officer began to return pages from members of the media and arranged to meet them at school. Sometimes between 7 and 74 or 7 and 7:45 p.m., Sheriff Dan Stanton personally called the FBI to alert them to Kyron's disappearance. Still, that's a lot of time.
Stop.
The first search teams had arrived at Skyline School at 8:09 p.m. I'm sorry, but that should have been right there at like 4 o'clock. And shortly after, at 8:15, Lieutenant Mary Lindstrand also arrived at the school and met with those present. She then began emailing a photo of Kyron to local media. And then Deputy Mark Heron, the search and rescue coordinator, I apologize, I'm getting tongue twisted, arrived at 8:25 p.m. And at 9:48 p.m., Mountain Wave, an emergency communications and search and rescue group based in Grisham, also arrived at the school. At 10:40 p.m., officers reported that they had completed a search of Skyline, including all crawl spaces, storage areas, classrooms, and outbuildings. They had also searched the Harmon house. At 10:44 p.m., a tipster called 911 to make sure officers checked the train tunnel in the area near the school. The caller said sometimes kids play in there, wants to make sure someone has checked that, which is understandable because honestly, if I heard that and I knew of where kids would be, I would be calling the tip line too, saying, hey, have you checked this? Because a lot of times those things can be overlooked.
See, some people thought that was Terry, but I, like you, I don't think that was Terry. I really think that was a concerned citizen.
Yeah, I mean, because like I said, if it was me and I was seeing this, I mean, and I noticed that they're not going near the area where a lot of kids could easily be hidden at, definitely I would be calling them. So on Saturday, June 5th, another search group, a Pacific Northwest Search and Rescue, was called by the sheriff's office at 5 a.m. That Saturday. When they arrived on site, 60 to 70 people were already involved in the search. So this is a pretty big search party.
And it's not a quick one. It's not a like Arianne's open and shut stuff. This is a very intricate, very detailed, very long. This part was cared about, but more people didn't call.
At 9:08 a.m., the Associated Press received its first official notification that Kyron was missing via an email with a subject line, Sheriff's Office continues search for 7-year-old Kyron Harmon, end quote. That morning, helpmyfindchild.net, a UK-based missing child site, created a page for Kyron, and a tip line was created at 503-261-2847. I wonder if that tip line still works. I don't want to call it because just in case it's still active. I don't want to call it.
Oh, hey, we just want to make sure it's still active because we are re-airing this story.
Yeah, I still don't want to. Try
You
it.
guys can try that if you know something.
At noon Saturday, a sheriff spokesman said during a press conference that the search for Kyron still missing person case, and it's not a criminal investigation.
Right.
That's what kills me. When it comes to a child, it should immediately, regardless if they're still missing and there's no definite proof that it's now a homicide case, it's still considered a criminal investigation.
Very endangered.
Because someone still did it, regardless.
Yes. And guys, when we're done with all this is going to probably be one of our longest shows, our longest episodes ever. But when we're done with this, I'm going to have to go through and break down to you the statistics so you can understand. Baby.
So, let's see here. Around that time, the Portland Public Schools District used its rapid broadcast system to alert staff and parents of Skyline School students who were at school Friday to come to the K-8, K through 8, on Saturday for debriefings by police and federal agents. The oldest students were advised to arrive at 10 a.m. The kindergartners cannot talk today. Kindergartners and first graders were to arrive with parents later on that day. This is so sad that these kids have to be, quote unquote, debriefed because their fellow student has gone.
This brings a lot of worry to the kids. Now the community's scared.
Kids don't know what's going on. Parents are like going nuts because now they're scared to send their kids to school.
He hears you talking. If you can hear him, he hears you talking and can't find you.
I'm Ivor's favorite. So then we have two news conferences that were held that day. One at 4, and then another one at 8 p.m. Authorities announced that the FBI and the National Guard had joined in the search effort. The search and rescue crews completed a quote-unquote immediate grid search around the school. That night at 10:23 p.m., a Facebook page was created for supporters of Kyron and his family. The page remains active today, which, by the way, I hope his stepmother's not in there. Just saying. Because this is all suspicious.
Very much.
All suspicious.
Oh, it gets deeper, guys.
Now we're moved on to the next day, Sunday, June 6th.
Think about this. This is just in 4 days.
Terry Harmon posted on Facebook at 8:58 a.m. saying she had ordered missing person flyers. She quote unquote said, "I ordered 1,000 flyers. They will be coming to our house. I will let people know when they are here and we can go from there. Thank you, everyone." That morning, the FBI announced that they had That morning, the FBI announced that they had brought in a Quantico, Virginia, cannot talk, based profiler to create a profile of the boy. I swear, my tongue is getting tongue-tied.
You know, when I read that, I was like, ooh, SSA, Derek Morgan.
Every time I think of Quantico, I'm thinking like NCIS because they're always like
Why would you say that? It's definitely criminal minds. They're there.
I always think because I've been on an NCIS kick lately. So moving on at 9:48 a.m. Mind you, this is still Sunday, June 6th. The first 300 students and their parents returned to Skyline School to be interviewed by detectives. 50 detectives were on hand for interviews that continued until 4 p.m. So rather than a normal school day, they had basically a police investigation and interrogation, essentially.
All day.
So, That afternoon, around 12:10 p.m., Kyron's relatives began distributing missing person flyers with a photo of Kyron, and the description says, quote, 3 feet, 8 inches tall, 50 pounds, blue eyes, brown hair, last seen wearing black cargo pants, white socks, and a worn black Skechers tennis shoes with orange trim, end quote. Then at 3:30 p.m., Portland Public Schools Superintendent Carol Smith appeared at the news conference and outlined a series of immediate steps the district was taking to address security concerns in the wake of Kyron's disappearance. Oh, this Donk County name. Again, the Multnomah. I'm just going to say it like that, okay? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Just say the county.
But it's just not going to work probably. The Multnomah County Sheriff escalated Kyron's disappearance to a missing endangered child case at 9 p.m., but did not call it a kidnapping.
Guys, this is still within the first few days. This timeline.
Let me get somebody and strangle them. Please.
Let me tell you, this timeline is still at the surface. There's a lot more to this timeline. We are on page 3 of 16. Bear with us. This is going to be a long one. And you'll see why this definitely fits for Piss You Off Thursday. As much information was already done within the first few days, this boy is still not found 10 years later. It gets worse.
I cannot.
You want me to take over for a few days?
No, I can.
Okay.
I can do it. I'm just saying, like, it's just annoying. How can you not, first off, consider it a criminal investigation? Yeah. Second off, cannot call it kidnapping. Where the hell did the kid go? Okay, so this is the next day, Monday, June 7th. In the early morning, 18 certified search and rescue volunteers resumed sweeping of the area near the school as deputies canvassed the neighborhood, handing out flyers and jotting down license plate numbers of passing vehicles along Northwest Skyline Boulevard. Then the school district began staffing a counseling hotline, and at 8:45 a.m., classes resumed at Skyline with counselors on hand. I'm sorry, if I was a parent there, I would want to sit right beside my child throughout the entire day of school. Like, I'm sorry, no, my child's not going to be left alone by himself. That evening, Kelly Ramirez, the sister of Desiree Young, which is the aunt of Kyron, issued a statement thanking the community on behalf of the family for their concern and support. So on Tuesday, June 8th, search and rescue crews resumed their search, and a reward fund was created and announced on Facebook. On Wednesday, June 9th, search and rescue crews resumed their search for Kyron in the morning. Terry, which is the stepmother, made her Facebook wall private wall. Wonder why, you little shithead. Sorry. I should not judge, but I am. At 11 a.m.
But
I just want to smack all of them. Just let me smack all of them. Okay, so at 11 a.m., Facebook spokeswoman Beth Ann Steele said that the Harmon family, quote unquote, is not speaking to the media because they do not believe it is in its best interest of finding Kyron. At noon, during the news briefing, Multnomah County Sheriff's Captain Mike Schultz read a statement from Kyron Holman's immediate family that said, quote, Kyron's family would like to thank people for support and interest in finding their son. The outpouring of support and continued effort strengthens their hope. We need for folks to continue to assist us in our goal. Please search your properties, cars, outbuildings, sheds, etc. Also check with neighbors and friends who may be on vacation or may need assistance in searching There are a lot of resources here to help you search, so please don't stop. It is obviously a difficult time, and they want to speak to the public so you can hear it from Kyron's family as they come together to share their message. Their objective is to keep the focus on Kyron and not about anything else, end quote. First off, you can do two things at once, okay? Have people find him and then interview the stupid lady who was last thing with her son, with the son. Sorry. I said what I said. Portland Mountain Rescue received a call from Multnomah Sheriff's Office to join the search at 9:45 p.m., and that was on June 9th. So then on June 10th, search and rescue crews still continued their search, rightfully so. Then on Friday, June 11th, the search resumed and at 10 a.m. was expanded to Suave Island. I guess that's how you say it.
Savi.
Kyron's family appeared at a news conference for the first time at 1 p.m. Tony Young, Kyron's stepfather, said, quote, "We miss you, we love you, and we need you home now," end quote. He then thanked all the volunteers and community for its outpouring of support. He was followed by Kane Harmon, which is Kyron's biological father, who also spoke about how grateful the family was to the community and searchers. I'm sorry, but where the hell has this father been this whole damn time? Like, no joke. I'm sorry.
Just keep reading.
Like, I could care less if I'm married to who the fuck ever, but my child is my child. And if you fucking failed a polygraph test, not only am I divorcing your ass, but and I know these kids can hear me and they better be going to bed. Because I just heard the oldest one laugh. So I'm just saying this so they could hear it. Anyways, Saturday, June 12th. So this is a week after their, this is a week after this all happened. The search resumed Saturday morning, and Sheriff's Office asked the public to hold back on further donations of food, water, and other supplies for searchers because of the sheer volume of supplies received at this point. So the next day, June 13th, the search resumed early in the day, but at noon, the Sheriff's Office announced at a news briefing that the massive search for Kyron has ended and the case was shifting to a criminal investigation. A week later.
It gets worse.
Monday, June 14th, the Multnomah Sheriff's Office sent drivers to Suave Island, where they could be seen wading in waist-high water off the banks of Multnomah north of Suave Island Bridge. Then on Tuesday, June 15th, early in the final day of Skyline classes for the 2009-2010 school year, which poor Kyron could not be a part of, the Multnomah County Sheriff's Office released a photo of a pair of glasses like the ones Kyron wore when he was last seen. Around noon that day, the sheriff's dive team was spotted on property near the Harmon home. According to sheriff spokeswoman, the search of the pond of the property is routine. So then at 3:36 p.m. on the same day, Tuesday, June 15th, the Multnomah County Sheriff's Office released a new version of the photo of Kyron at his school science fair. This version, created using photo editing software, showed what Kyron would look like without his glasses. Then that same day, 30 billboards with Kyron's picture and information went up throughout the metro area, 10 in English, 10 in Spanish, 10 in Russian. The billboards were donated by Clear Channel. Thursday, June 17th, the rumor slid up on social media claiming Kyron's body had been found. Then on June 18th, Friday, June 18th, Multnomah County Sheriff's Office released a flyer asking parents and kids about the day Kyron disappeared. The flyer included pictures of Kyron, Terry Harmon, his stepmother, and a pickup similar to the one she was driving that day. That afternoon at 2 p.m., Captain Jason Gates said at a new conference that the family approved the flyer and he dispelled rumors that Kyron's body had been found. At 8:30 p.m., a friend of Terry Harmon told the Oregonian that she would undergo a second polygraph that next day. So on Sunday, June 20th, Multnomah County authorities collected flyers from parents at Skyline. Then Kyron's mother on June 21st writes an open letter to her son, which we will post that link on here. Then on Tuesday, June 22nd, a wall of hope was created outside of Skyline as a tribute to Kyron. On Thursday, June 24th, Kyron's family released 3 home movies and 200 new photos of the missing Portland second grader. On Friday, June 25th, Desiree Young, which is the biological mother, and her ex-husband, Kane, which is the biological father, appeared on 4 network morning shows to keep their son's story in the public eye. The 2 announced new details about that day Kyron disappeared from school. His father was working at home that afternoon and also met the boys' bus, but they shed little light on the mystery of what happened to Kyron. It's, quote, what Desiree says, "It's like a portal opened up in the school and Kyron just vanished into it," end quote, is what she wrote. Oh, hold on. I think I got to sneeze. No, oh, wait.
False alarm?
Now it's gone.
False alarm.
Gosh darn it. This has been happening all day. My allergies have been acting up. So, Saturday, June 26th, the first of 2 911 calls made from the Harmon residence off Northwest Sheltered Nook Road came at 5:17 p.m. The first came in as a threat call, and the sheriff's deputy responded. At 11:39 p.m., the second call was made from the Harmon residence. This call had been classified as a custody issue. At some point Saturday, Kane moved out of the family home, taking his 19-month-old daughter, which is Kyron's sister, with him. Thank fucking God.
And the little girl's name is like Kiara or Kyara, Kiara, however you want to pronounce it.
It's about freaking time.
And it gets worse.
So I'm sorry, guys. I keep moving. My butt hurts. Like,
it's okay.
It hurts.
I keep saging my head because it hurts. So don't worry. I'm over here. Like I'm doing
I'm trying to find a comfortable spot here. So on Monday, June 28th, the July 5th edition of People magazine hit newsstands. The second issue to feature Kyron's story. Larry Moulton, which is Terry Harmon's father, the stepmother, told the magazine that she'd been subjected to repeated interviews of up to 6 hours each, and that the truck she was driving the day Kyron disappeared had been inspected twice by police.
Mm-hmm.
For her. Then when I'm guessing People magazine asked him whether he thought his daughter would be arrested, he replied with tears in his eyes, quote, "It's 50-50. I'm sorry, but she should have been arrested."
Why did he say 50-50? Why does he feel like that?
Because because in his head, he's acting like a father that maybe he doesn't want her to be arrested, really hoping she's not going to be arrested. The other half of him has this like clear state of mind that like, okay, well, she did fail 2 polygraph tests and she did supposedly.
All the evidence points to her.
Yeah.
All the evidence
so of course he's going to say 50-50. That afternoon, Fox 12 reported that Kane Harmon had moved out of his family's Northwest Portland home and had taken his and Terry's 19-month-old daughter with him.
Wait.
Later that
You said
afternoon,
17 months?
19 months.
Oh, okay.
Later that afternoon, what's this? Okay. Who approached her home?
Oh, guys.
I'm guessing, Fox 12. Okay, I'm sorry.
I was going to say, like,
So
is it
later on that afternoon, the news station approached her home in Northwest Portland. Oh no, the Oregonian. I guess it's the news.
Yeah, guys, I work late at night, so if there's any errors, if she says anything, I work late at night.
I'm reading off what she's saying.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I do my work at night.
For the most part, it makes sense, but I didn't read it. I normally read it in advance, and then I could, whatever.
Well, I call her like midnight.
Oregonian, or what did I just say? Oregonian.
It's Oregon. Oregonian.
Yeah. So, Terry had denied that her husband and daughter had moved out. Mm-hmm. She said, quote, "Everything's good." And then she gave a thumbs up and, quote, "We heard that rumor. It's just a rumor that needs to be squelched. Everything's fine," end quote.
How do you squelch a rumor?
I'm rolling my eyes. No, I'm crossing my eyes. I don't know how to roll my eyes. I just cross them.
Wait, you go like this?
Yeah, I can't. Okay. Oh, I cannot with this. Okay. So then at 5:52 p.m., mind you, this is still Monday, June 28th. At 5:52 p.m., Kane Harmon, Desiree, and Tony Young asked the Multnomah Sheriff's Office to release a statement stating they were cooperating with the investigation. Terry Harmon's name was absent from that statement. Suspicious. Suspicious.
I think it's worse this case.
Shortly after, media outlets in Portland were tipped off that Terry Harmon had been served with restraining order and a petition for dissolution of marriage at the family's home. Good for you, Kane. Good for you.
Guys, we're still in the first month.
I know. She said earlier it's 4 days, you guys. We are way past 4 days right
now.
We're
still in the first month. This timeline, we are now on page 8 of 16 of my notes.
Tuesday, June 29th, the next day, the Multnomah County judge sealed the restraining order against Terry Harmon. Wednesday, June 30th, Terry slipped.
Wait, why did he seal it? We don't know why. Why would you seal it?
You mean like completely close it? Or do they mean like made it to where it is actually like an active restraining order?
It's sealed, like
I think they're meaning sealed, meaning like they are making it like an actual active restraining order.
It's set in stone.
Yeah. I think that's what they mean. So on Wednesday, June 30th, Terry slipped past the crowd of reporters at the foot of her driveway, returned home about 5:30 with prominent Portland criminal defense attorney Stephen Howes beside her. House stayed at the home for about an hour and later confirmed he was representing Terry Harmon.
Okay, let me read the next one because she just read the whole month of June. I'm going to read the month of July. We're going to take turns reading these months because, guys, it keeps going.
Mind you, I have kids to get up at 6:30 in the morning. And that includes me that has to get up at 6:30 in the morning, along with 3 dogs.
This is really long. And really, it should piss you off. Okay, so now we've entered July. Thursday, July the 2nd. Helen Jung of the Oregonian revealed that the search investigation into Kieran's disappearance cost the Multnomah County about $300,000 to date. Multnomah County Sheriff Dan Staton said all but one of his 7 detectives were working on the case, with another 14 investigators from other agencies. But as Kieran's disappearance hit the 4-week anniversary and costs mounted for the cash-strapped county, Staton could not say whether an arrest or resolution was coming anytime soon, nor how long the office could afford to sustain the effort. Ultimately, if we are unable to find Kyron, this could turn into a cold case, Staton acknowledged in an exclusive interview with Argonian, which it is a cold case, or else it would be on today's show. Sunday, July 4th, Maxine Bernstein of the Oregonian reported that a landscaper who worked for Kieran's family at the family's rural Northwest Portland home told authorities that the missing boy's stepmother offered to pay him to kill her husband. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun. What do you think about that?
I'm going cross-eyed. Like,
Some bullshit.
it's making my skin itch. Like, oh my God. And my hair is still wet and still tangled.
He
Really bad.
said Terry Moulton Harmon approached him with the murder for hire plot 6 to 7 months before Karen disappeared. She reportedly offered the landscaper who advertises his expertise in lawn care a large sum of money to carry out the scheme. Thursday, July 8th, Kane Harmon asked a judge to order Terry Moulton Harmon to move out of his house. A Multnomah County judge released the petition in support of Kane Harmon's restraining order against his wife. Monday, July 12th, criminal defense attorney Steve Miles notified the court that Terry Moulton Harmon would not contest her husband's restraining order or his push to force her out of the Portland home. In a court document, Kane Harmon asked that his estranged wife be held in contempt, saying she violated a restraining order against her by starting a sexual relationship with one of his high school friends, sharing sealed legal information, and trying to kidnap their daughter. Friday, July 16th. In an out-of-court settlement, Terry Harmon agreed to vacate the house on Northwest Sheltered Nook Road. She immediately left for Roseburg, where her parents have a home. Saturday, July 17th, Kane Harmon and his daughter Kiara returned to their home. Sunday, July 18th, the Sunday Oregonian published a story by reporter Lynn Terry in which she spoke to experts around the country about why the Kyron Harmon case seemed to have taken on a life of its own. Thousands of children vanish every year, but there are many reasons the saga of this 7-year-old boy has fueled seemingly insatiable curiosity coast to coast.
Insatiable, isn't it?
Insatiable?
I
Okay,
don't know. Okay, first off,
we
I
suck.
have an excuse not to say these words properly
Lies.
because I was not born in the States.
Lies. She's been in America since she could remember. She's been in American schools since she can remember. She doesn't even speak like a Filipina. She doesn't even know how to speak in Tagalog. So lies. Anyway,
I do.
lies.
I do. I speak some.
Lies.
Not a whole bunch, though. Not a whole bunch, though. I understand it mostly, then I speak it. But still, I still have the Asian accent. If you guys have ever heard my mom talk, not the Asian accent. I have the what it is called. What it's called?
American accent.
No, us Asians pronounce everything like how it's written out, even though
I do too most of the time.
Okay. So, anyways, back
What
to
was I
Hawaii.
even at? Oh, okay. Wednesday, July 21st, reporter Maxine Bernstein wrote that law enforcement officials have been putting pressure on a small circle of Terry Moulton Mormons, of friends of hers, including a 43-year-old D.D. Spitcher of Tulaton.
God dang it, Oregon. What is up with your name?
Right? Like, where the fuck did I get their names at? Oh,
Golly.
Jesus. Never moved to Oregon, and we cannot pronounce that shit, okay? Oregon's hard.
We know Portland.
Fuck. Okay. Investigators search Spitcher, however you want to say that name. They searched her friend's condominium in the city that we mentioned the previous week and had interviewed people who saw that girl, the friend. Say that name, girl.
I say Spitzer.
Spitcher. On
That's what
June
I would say.
4th, the day Karen disappeared. Spitzer was a presence at the Harmon house after Kane moved out and filed for divorce and a restraining order against Terry in late June. She
But she
also
was
was
quite over
very
there, or she would know exactly what would happen.
she's very active in their lives.
Right.
She was also seen driving Terry to and from the attorney's office in downtown Portland. She is not the first person who has assisted Terry in the recent weeks to have been drawn into the investigation. Police also said Michael Cook, who was also seen at the Horman house after Kane moved out, had been interviewed by authorities. Cook was a high school friend of Kane Horman who showed up at the couple's home after Kieran disappeared.
Suspicious.
If you guys listen to us, you need to get out a pen and paper and take notes as we tell you things and draw your own conclusion, put your little lines going because baby,
Honestly, you don't even need to take out a pen and paper. Just
it's
by reading it, you would have just been dead set. Like,
I just don't understand with all this information, and we're only in the second month of the disappearance.
y'all, she literally said 4 days at the beginning.
At the beginning, and now we've been on air for an hour and 17 minutes so far. Anchor, keep up with us, and I'm so sorry, but this is so important. A child has gone missing, and it's a cold case right now. So all these details are important. Somebody out there knows something. Somebody knows something. Okay, so Michael Cook was staying at the Harmon house after Kane moved out. He had been interviewed by authorities. He was a high school friend of Kane after he was at the house after Karen disappeared. That's what I had just said before I ran it. Thursday, July the 22nd, Multnomah County commissioners approved a much pared down $197,034 request for additional funding to help prosecutors continue their criminal investigation into the disappearance of Kieran. Sheriff Dan Staton tabled his request for $242,609 to hire a 1-year investigative technician to cover 4 months of overtime from July through October. Friday, July 22nd, Oregonian reported that detectives investigating the disappearance of Kieran have searched Dee Dee Spitcher's condominium in
Tualatin?
Tualatin and have interviewed people who saw Spitcher the day of Kieran's disappearance. Spitcher was doing gardening work for a Northwest Portland homeowner July 4th. She abruptly left the house about 11:30 a.m. and didn't return until an hour to 90 minutes later. Another person working at the home called Spitzer to come in for lunch. The homeowner called Spitzer on her cell, but she was unreachable. Dun, dun, dun. What the hell are you eating on?
My favorite chocolate.
Bitch.
Ferrero Rocher.
Anyway, detectives have questioned both of the homeowners and the other person who was working at the home that day. Now we are in Monday, July the 26th. Kane filed a motion in court asking a judge to order Terry to disclose the source of the reported $350,000 she has paid to retain criminal defense attorney Stephen House. Where are they getting this money from?
Tax dollars.
Who has this money sitting around? If respondent has provided funds to her attorneys for her legal representation and considers them to be of marital liability, these funds are marital property, and respondent should be required to pay one half of these funds to petitioner to use for his attorney fees and costs, wrote Laura Rackner, Kane's attorney. On that same day, Dee Dee Spitzer, that very same close friend of Terry's, appeared before a Multnomah grand jury at 11:20 a.m. in response to a subpoena. So now she's been ordered to come in. She can't. She's got to now testify. Whew, girl. Later that day, Dateline NBC cast another national spotlight on the search for the missing second grader. The centerpiece of the hour-long program, titled Little Boy Lost, was an emotional tour of the Medford home of Kyron's mother and stepfather, Desiree and Tony Young. Desiree showed the NBC reporter Kyron's bed with Batman sheets and pillowcase still rumbled from the last time the 7-year-old visited them. Now we hit Tuesday, July 27th, which is my birthday. Multnomah County Sheriff's officers announced that they were increasing the reward for information about the disappearance of Kyron from $25,000 to $50,000. The announcement comes at the news conference at which Desiree and Tony Young and Kane Harmon stand behind the sheriff officials. Wednesday, July 28th. Citing intense media and police scrutiny, a lawyer representing Terry Harmon filed a motion to delay the Harmon divorce proceeding. The week of August 2nd to 6th, we're going to pass to Arianne. We're going to just switch off months here.
I'm sure eat my thing. Okay. So the week of August 2nd through the 6th, witnesses appeared in Multnomah County Circuit Court facing subpoenas to answer questions before grand jury regarding the disappearance of 7-year-old Kyron Harmon. On August 2nd, Kyron's parents, Kane and Desiree, and stepfather Tony testified. Later in the week, several friends of Terry, as well as the principal of Skyline Elementary, were also called. On the weekend of August 7th and 8th, searchers and investigators resumed a ground search of Kyron Harmon. The search focused on the almost 2.5 mile old Germantown Road loop, not far from the home where Dee Dee Spitzer, one of Terry's friends, was gardening the day Kyron went missing. On Monday, August 9th, investigators continued the concentrated search along the 2.2 mile northwest Old Germantown Road loop. Meanwhile, a Multnomah County grand jury heard more testimonies from witnesses called to appear were women and men who had worked out at the same gym as Kyron's stepmother. On Tuesday, August 10th, personal emails sent by Terry Holman detailing the day of Kyron's disappearance were obtained by various media organizations. Then August 11th, during a morning press conference, investigators said they sought details about several possible sightings of the Harmon family truck, including 2 of the different locations around Skyline School, as well as 2 West Side Fred Meyer stores. Investigators appealed to the public for quote-unquote investigative assistance and released stage photos of the food truck at approximate locations. That afternoon, Kane Harmon, which is Karen's father, biological father, Laura Ratner had filed documents objecting to his estranged wife's request to delay divorce proceedings. Ratner also submitted a copy of a June 30th text message exchange between Terry and Michael Cook, in which Terry Harmon reportedly cited that her attorney is costing $350,000.
Boo-hoo.
On Tuesday, August 17th, Terry's friend, Dee Spitzer, told People magazine she did not leave the 38-acre nursery where she was working the day Kyron had vanished. On Friday, August 20th, in an exclusive story by Lynn Terry in the Oregonian, Kane Harmon and Desiree Young, which is Kyron's biological parents, described changes in Terry Harmon's behavior starting in 2005. Terry Harmon was depicted by former in-laws and former roommates as a mix of contradictions, someone who's caring and controlling, self-centered and giving, demanding, and short-tempered. Suspicious. Okay. Suspicious. On Wednesday, August 25th, in that afternoon, Terry Harmon appeared in court accompanied by her lawyers. Her divorce lawyer, Peter Bunch, filed a legal memo arguing that she couldn't proceed at the time to protect her rights to property, custody, and parenting time because she is a quote-unquote de facto suspect, end quote, in the disappearance of Kyron at the center of police investigation. I swear, this nostril, my right nostril, needs to come on with a sneeze because it's bothering the heck out of me right
now. Rub it, just rub it.
So Kane Harmon helped workers assemble the Wall of Hope near Tualatin Valley Fire and Rescue Station in Northwest Skyline Boulevard near the Skyline School.
Guys, we are on page 12 of 16. We're almost there, but it goes on. I want to step in for her while she eats since I took a couple breaks.
I'm good.
You want to read the next month?
Where are we on? Oh, we're in September. Oh, okay. Yeah, you got it.
All right.
I forgot.
So now we've entered September. Tuesday, September the 7th. Kane joined with volunteers and friends to re-erect the Wall of Hope in honor of Kyron. The chalk line, oh my God. The chain line wall with cards, messages, and rubber frogs for Kyron was moved from Skyline School to avoid disturbing returning students. Rightfully so, because this is a very disturbing thing. Very, like, those kids don't need to be subjected to any more torture. It now stood on a field in front of the Tualatin Valley Fire and Rescue Fire Station 368 on Northwest Skyline Boulevard near the school.
We can't speak today, guys. Excuse us. We cannot read today, nor can we speak.
And I don't feel good. I'm starting to feel a little bit better, though, since I saged my brain, but show must go on. I'm sorry, guys, if this is the longest episode that we've had, but it's a very, very, very important episode. Wednesday, September the 8th, Kane Harmon agreed to drop his motion to find his estranged wife, Terry, in contempt of court stemming from the alleged sharing of a sealed restraining order. Google that for me. We need more understanding on what the hell's that. What's the sealed on that mean? Thursday, September 9th, Kyron's parents honored his 8th birthday. Now, he's been gone a year at this point. Not a year. How many months? I say a year. He's been gone since June 4th. So we're at June, July, August. We're on the 4th month of him being missing. Um, he got chocolate cake, and they had music for him and heartfelt cards that he'll never see. Thursday, September 9th, Wednesday, September 15th, the Multnomah County Sheriff's Office announced a shift in staffing the case, with costs topping $1 million. Sheriff Dan Staton said it's time to scale down the investigation to a task force of 8 to 10 detectives, compared with as many as 25 on any one day previously. Tuesday, September 21st. Clear Channel began to gradually take down Kyron Harmon billboards. So now he's starting to fade away. They're starting to get away from his case and going to.
Oh, okay. So it's a court order that restricts access to or disclosure of any record document filed in a proceeding.
So basically, it's a protection.
It's a confidentiality. Blah, 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 blah.
Basically, it does not implicate. She can't be implicated on anything that's in there.
Yeah, they can't pull it out.
Now we're reaching after 4 months. Media attention usually doesn't last this long. 4 months so far is a pretty long time to keep media attention and keep detectives going. They've actually worked really hard on this and kept his name in spotlights for a long time. So now we're seeing that he's starting to fade out and it's starting to really become a cold case because the interest in the case is starting to dwindle. Wednesday, October 2 to 3 will be for Arianne.
Weekend of October 2nd through the 3rd.
Yes.
Search and rescue personnel from multiple jurisdictions returned to Suave Island looking for any clues in the disappearance of Kyron Harmon. Multnomah County Sheriff's Office spokeswoman Lieutenant Mary Lindstrand did not comment on what searchers were looking for or if anything was found during the large ground search. I'm assuming they're looking for a body at this point. That's probably why they're not saying anything. On Thursday, October 7th at 9 a.m., Terry Harmon, Kane Harmon, and their attorneys arrived at downtown Portland for a court hearing to decide whether to delay divorce proceedings during the ongoing criminal investigation into the disappearance of Kyron Harmon. Around 1:30, Judge Keith Messenheimer ruled to delay the divorce case until January 2011. The judge cited Terry's Fifth Amendment right to avoid testifying in a manner that might implicate her in a crime. Weekend of October 9th and 10th. I'm drooling, you guys, and that's because like my mouth for some reason like it feels like it's dry, but like I'm drooling on the side of my mouth. I don't know why.
Don't worry about her, Anchor.
I think it's my allergies. Honestly, I think it's my allergies because I want to sneeze so dang bad, like it's right here. Okay, so weekend of October 9th and 10th, approximately 180 searchers returned to Suave Island to look for Kyron Harmon for the second consecutive weekend. Wednesday, October 13th, Terry Moulton petitioned the court to give her visitation rights to see her daughter, Kira. No.
Absolutely not.
No. Thursday, August 14th, the Multnomah County Board of Commissioners granted Sheriff Dan Stanton $209,600, I'm guessing $50, to cover overtime and the salary of temporary investigative technician for the Kyron Harmon investigation. Oh, yeah, my mouth is like watering for some reason. That's why I'm drooling.
Because it's a lot to read.
On Thursday, well, Dad and I kind of had chocolate.
And nothing to drink.
Yeah. Well, no, I have a drink right here. On Thursday, October 21st, Kane Harmon filed an objection to his estranged wife's motion for visitation rights, allowing her parenting time with their young daughter. On Monday, October 25th, Kane Harmon submitted an affidavit and exhibits to support his counterclaim. He argued in court files that his estranged wife, Terry, is a quote-unquote emotionally disturbed individual focused on her own needs rather than the needs of Kiera or my missing Kyron. End quote. Thank you. About time, Kane, that you grew some damn balls.
Thank you. This is deep, y'all.
So Friday, October 29th, Terry Horman attorneys responded to the court affidavit filed by Kane 4 days prior. In the motion, Terry's attorneys and Kane's said Kane is focused on his wife's destruction rather than their daughter's best interest. No.
That's a lie.
No.
That's
a motion called Kane Horman's filing, quote, vicious in its own tone and content.
Lies. This is lies. This is complete defamation. If you listen to anything that we've been saying for this past hour, this is bullshit. Bullshit right here.
Okay, let me reread this. Okay, the motion called Kane's filing, quote, vicious in its tone and content, intended to vilify the mother with incendiary tactics to completely destroy and sabotage the mother-child relationship to the utter detriment of his daughter.
That's bullshit. I don't, guys.
I'm already annoyed that my allergies are getting on my nerves. Like, I'm already annoyed at that point. But this is just like
this brings me back to that question I asked before we actually started the breakdown. I believe Terry's using her privilege to keep her out. This should have been an open check case. This should have been. But for some reason, people are protecting and deflecting.
Y'all are just gonna see my wild hair. I'm sorry.
At this point, I mean, this case is wild.
Think like my hair. I have mom hair right now.
So this is bullshit. So now, what was that? 5 that you just read? And 5 of them being missing.
Okay.
We're
now in November,
and we're at the end of page 13 out of 16. We're getting there, guys. For those that have been on live with us this whole time, thank you for your patience. Anchor listeners, thank you. This is a very, very important case, and we want to thank you for staying interested this long. And please help get this boy's name out. We've got to get information. Moving on to month 6. We're at Tuesday, November the 2nd. Terry withdrew her motion seeking parenting time with Kiara. What the fuck? Why is it the first thing I have to read? Why would she do that?
What?
Why would she not want to keep her parenting?
It's probably her lawyers told her.
Oh my God. Over the weekend of November the 13th and 14th, dive teams from the Multnomah County Sheriff's Office returned to the Sauvie Island to search for signs of Kyron. Monday, November 15th, for the first time since Kyron's disappearance on June 4th, the United Front that had been presented by his birth parents shows fractures. So now we've got the cases broken up. Terry and Kane, their marriage has fallen apart. Now there's turmoil with their daughter. There's custody battles. There's like all these allegations, all these subpoenas, all these restraining orders. And now his biological parents are starting to crumble.
Sorry, you guys, if y'all are going to see my camera move because I'm trying to have my little lap table.
This case is hard to read to you guys, and this is why we keep like turning it off months. It's getting harder and harder the worse and the longer that this goes on. Desiree appeared on NBC's Today Show and accused Harry of having a severe hatred of Kyron. I can believe that. She also thinks that Kane had made some bad choices. I can understand that. I just can't stand by and support the choices that he's making. I can understand that. As later, Kane stood at the Wall of Hope to talk to reporters about court filings in the divorce case. He responded to Desiree's comments, saying that he had never withheld any information and never felt that his estranged wife posed a threat to Kyron. I don't believe that second part. But anyway, after the bullshit he just said before, I don't believe that second part at all. So anyway, we're going on to Friday, December the 10th, and Arianne's going to take over.
Oh, dang, we're right. Okay.
Yeah.
So, at the request of the Multnomah County Sheriff's Office, the Skyline School principal emailed a flyer to its parents and staff. Sheriff Dan Stanton said the flyer was to double check the law enforcement had interviewed everyone who was at the school when Kyron was last seen.
So now we're going to enter. What month are we entering now, Arianne?
We're in January now.
So that's what, 7 months?
As you guys can tell, like, it seems like it really is dwindling down. There really is not a lot of more information coming in the next few months.
It's going down. Like, the case is just, now it's really, really starting to turn cold down. So we're at Sunday, January 30th. We're in the following year now. Authorities resumed the search for Kyron, but shifted it to an area in the forested hills of west of Sauvie Island, saying that they had new and very specific reasons. About 50 researchers. Shit, I'm sleepy, y'all. About 50 searchers and 7 cadaver detecting dogs were employed. Searchers set a goal of scouring the rural area of north and west of Portland, crossing from Multnomah County into the corners of Washington and Columbia counties. The search focused on several parcels of private property, mostly logging land along Northwest Skyline Boulevard, between Rocky Point Road and Logging Trail Road, and around the Dixie Mountain area. Nothing was found.
Of course, nothing was found.
At all, yeah.
So we're now into February. Following the review of local task force nearly 9-month investigation, the FBI dedicated up to 6 agents to help with the criminal investigations into the disappearance of Kyron. On Saturday, February 13th, Desiree Young, which is the biological mother, sent out a press release that included a Valentine to Kyron. She said the holiday would be a tough one, just as the others have since her son went missing. The Valentine read, quote, "There's a hole in my heart that will not be fixed until you come home," end quote. Poor thing.
I mean, this is sad. I completely understand that. Now we're in March. Over the weekend of March the 26th and 27th, searchers returned to a stretch of Northwest Skyline Road, south of Rocky Point Road, and a gravel road further north in the Dixie Mountain area to continue looking for Kyron, as they could not cover the full area in January. Later on that week, on March the 30th, which is a Wednesday, the Harmon divorce hearing was delayed into June 30th. That's a while later, a few months later.
So on Thursday, June 2nd, Multnomah County Sheriff Dan Stanton said the formal Kyron task force will disband as of July 1st, 2011. But that a lead detective from the office would continue to work full-time investigating the now year-long disappearance of Kyron Harmon with the help of the FBI, State Department of Justice, and county prosecutors.
On Friday, August the 26th, Desiree withdrew her civil suit against Terry. She had filed a lawsuit accusing Terry of kidnapping the boy and demanded that the court compel her to return him or reveal where his body is. She sought 10 million in damages. The judge had previously delayed the lawsuit, saying it could affect an ongoing criminal investigation. She and her lawyer said they didn't want to impede in the case, which we mentioned earlier. We understand that. Now we're
Tuesday, July 17th, the
July,
long, huh?
September,
Oh, okay. Sorry. What did I say?
July.
Oh, Tuesday, September 17th. Sorry, you guys. Half asleep. The long divorced parents of missing Kyron, who are Desiree and Kane, air their differences on the Dr. Phil show. I really got to look for this Dr. Phil show.
And
While
why the
you
hell do they keep
read,
going to Dr. Phil? Dr. Phil
while
is
you
messy
read
as
that,
hell.
let me
We're gonna have to post this show. Dr. Phil is messy as hell. Quit going to Dr. Phil with your business. Think about it. He's the one that launched the bad baby career. That cash me outside shit. Quit going to Dr. Phil. Go to a marriage counselor. Even though y'all are divorced, I need counseling. Don't go on TV. Shit. While she's looking for that, we're going to step into Tuesday, December the 31st. A Multnomah County judge finalized the divorce of Kane and Terry days before the two were set to go to trial. The couple had got married in April 2007. Kane filed for the divorce June 28, 2010, 24 days after Karen was last seen, and previously stated that it was this divorce hearing has been pushed back so many times. The last mention of it was supposed to be in June, but as you can see, it took them until December. So this has now been a whole year later that they finally got the divorce. Some bullshit. While she's still looking, I can go on to the next.
it's only
Friday.
popping up just like little snippets of
Okay.
the
I can read the next couple because
YouTube video.
it's really dwindling down. So I can read the next couple. Friday, June the 1st, 2012, Desiree filed the lawsuit against Terry contending custodial interference. That makes a lot of sense. Tuesday, July 30th, 2013. This is now 3 years later. Because remember, he went missing June 4, 2010? Yeah. So now this is 3 years later. Desiree dropped the lawsuit against Terry. She said, "I cannot tolerate to continue to be silent," which I understand. But she keeps filing these lawsuits, and they have to keep dropped. There's stuff going on. It's complete utter bullshit. So I understand her frustration here. Tuesday, June 3rd, 2014, another year later. Kane was awarded the custody of his daughter, Kiara. Terry was allowed strict supervised visits with her under a detailed reintegration plan, of course, so this, according to the settlement, which is very, very fair. She's lucky she even got that. If I was the judge, she wouldn't have got shit. But we cannot judge. Monday, August 4th, a judge denied Terry's request for a name change. Why she want to change her name?
Because she doesn't want to get the backlash anymore.
Too bad, baby. She filed a petition in Douglas County on June 30th to change her name to Claire Stella Sullivan. She said she wanted to avoid what she called the stigma of the Harmon name. But the judge cited that the ongoing criminal investigation would make that difficult, so he denied it. At any rate, if you have nothing to do with that, you wouldn't
You
be.
would fight tooth and nail first off for your
Yeah.
innocence and to find this child if you really did not do it.
And instead of changing your complete name after a divorce, it's custom to go back
Why
to
don't you go
your
back to your married or your maiden name?
maiden name. No, she wants a complete facelift. She wants a complete identity change. Something is going on that makes her feel like she can't be Terry anymore. Terry, girl, what did you do? Speak.
Killed her stepson.
Speak on this, Terry, because this does not look good. Oh my God. Like, now we're into Thursday, August the 14th. It was reported that Terry spoke publicly about Kyron for the first time since after he vanished 4 years ago. She has not spoke publicly in 4 years about her stepson that she was the last to see. In the comments to the judge, she this was for her name change hearing. She says this: he needs to be found. I love my son. I want him home more than anything. Doesn't look like it. Nothing showed in the previous reports that we've been saying, nothing showed that she had any kind of remorse. Now she calls him affectionately her son. Where was all that affection and love at the beginning? When you did that boo-hoo cry on his mama's shoulder? I don't like that. Wednesday, November the 26th, 4 months after being denied a name change in Douglas County, Terry filed another petition to change her name, this time in a different county called Lane County Circuit Court. And this time she wanted to change it to Claire Kissel or Kiesel. Why did Wednesday, December the 10th, a hearing on the name change was canceled after Terry withdrew the petition. On Facebook, opponents had circulated a petition to challenge her name change, and it gained more than 3,000 signatures.
Rightfully
I don't
so.
feel like she should change her name. You
Rightfully
don't get
so.
to change her identity. Kyron didn't choose to be kidnapped and disappeared and probably at this time killed. You don't get to choose to leave that. That's something that everybody else has to live with forever. You should live with that. On Friday, February the 6th, 2015, when I were 5 years after his disappearance, according to the reports, Terry landed a job as a caregiver in Eugene with the Shangri-La
Shangri-La.
Corporation, which provides residential care for adults suffering from mental illness. The company said that Harmon applied for a mental health support specialist position in November under the alias of Terry Moulton, the last name of her adoptive parents. The company said she was forthright with Shangri-La about her alternate names in her application, and her state-approved criminal history check was processed using all reported aliases. After the review plus an interview, a Department of Motor Vehicle check, reference review, and a drug test, she was determined to be a technically qualified applicant and was hired for the position. What do you think about that?
I just want to smack her on top of the head.
Because according to them, there's nothing wrong. According to them, everything checks out. She's cool.
Well, technically, I mean, they can't really say, even just because she was only questioned and for the disappearance, she was never really rightfully charged. So there's nothing technically in her records that could prevent her from making a position.
So she got the job at the beginning of February. Friday, February 20th, the Shangri-La Corporation reported that she left her job as a caregiver for the nonprofit. A statement says she quit her job because she recognized the impact her employment had on the nonprofit since it had been made public. An official said Harmon performed her job to their expectation and showed compassion to the people with special needs. So she wasn't working more than 3 weeks at this point. So from their standpoint, she's an upstanding citizen. She's caring. She's, you know what, honey? Sociopaths can fake it. I mean, I'm trying my hardest not to just really just say it's her, but everything just says it's her for me. On Thursday, May the 28th, as the 5th anniversary of Kyron's disappearance approaches, the Multnomah County Sheriff's Office publicized its ongoing $50,000 reward for information to lead to his discovery. On Saturday, May 30th, as he prepares for the 5th anniversary of his son's disappearance, Kane told the Oregonian and Oregon Live, "We don't want people to forget. We want a resolution." And I agree. And thank you, Oregon Live, and your website for the total breakdown of this timeline. This is the most thorough timeline that I've ever seen in any research. Ever. I appreciate it. Arianne, I'm going to let you finish. We're on the last page. We got the last few days.
On August 2015, according to Yuba County Sheriff's Office crime analyst Leslie Carba, Terry Harmon's roommate reported in August 2015 that he believes she had stolen a gun from his gun safe. Quote, "She did indeed have the firearm," end quote. Carba told Oregon Live, or the Oregonian. Thursday, September 22nd, 2016, Terry Harmon told Dr. Phil on his talk show that she believes Kyron was kidnapped by a man in a white pickup truck.
Where'd she get that from?
That's a very common. That's a very, very common, like.
I mean, she just threw it out there. Why she never said it before?
Because if you think about it, how many white pickup trucks are there?
I mean, yeah, a lot of them are from.
There's a lot. So it could be anything. So on Thursday, May 25th, 2017, National Center of Missing and Exploited Children released an age-progressed photo of Kyron, who would be 14 years old at that time. Saturday, March 17th, 2018, Terry married Jose de Jesus Vasquez Martinez, and I thought I had a long name. Jesus.
Yours is longer than that.
Nevada. On Tuesday, June 4th, 2019, on the 9th anniversary of their son's disappearance, Desiree announced that authorities have narrowed the search for Kyron to less than 100 acres and still sought answers on what caused him to vanish. On Tuesday, May 26th of this year, true crime writer Rebecca Morris released a book on Kyron investigation called Boy Missing: The Search for Kyron Harmon. On Friday, May 29th of this year, Little Boy Lost, an ID mystery, aired on Investigation Discovery Channel, telling the story of Kyron and the investigation that follows his disappearance, which I'm now going to look up and watch probably tomorrow while the kids are... No, I have to clean. While the kids are in class. So, Thursday, June 4th, which was just a few months ago, for the 10th anniversary of the case, Multnomah County Sheriff Mike Reese released his statement, quote, "Kyron Harmon's disappearance continues to have a profound impact on our community. We remain just as dedicated to this investigation as we did 10 years ago. In collaboration with our major crimes team partners, the Multnomah County District Attorney's Office and the FBI, we are pursuing all investigative leads that will continue to do so until Kyron is located. This case remains open and active. You can help us by sharing information pertaining to Kyron's disappearance by calling the MCSO tip line at, guys, remember this, at 503-988-0560. Again, that's the MCO tip line at 503-988-0560.
This case, I will say, is one of the greatest cold cases, one of the greatest Mrs. Person cases, simply because every year since he disappeared, people were doing something. He literally, in his state never forgot him. The county he lived in never forgot him. Every single year, nearly every month of every year, they were doing something, and they're still currently searching for him. So this is a unique missing persons case because there's so little information, but there's a lot of background. We don't, as far as his disappearance, we don't really have any information on his exact disappearance. The only thing that we have is his stepmother dropped him off after she took a picture. He was spotted at an exit, but he was never marked at present for the day. So all we really have is two
No
witnesses that
teachers
saw
seen
him.
him, by the way. No teachers. There was no report of
Yes.
teachers ever seeing him in
He
that
was
school. There
never
was
on his
one
bus.
student that said they seen him.
So as far as his actual disappearance, it's very, very a weak case. But everything surrounding it, there's a lot of suspicion. And we cannot say conspiracy because we have a lot of facts. And this facts have a lot of suspicion pointing towards one person. And there's not a conspiracy in fact. So this case is a very unique case because for it to have been worked on nearly every month of every year for the past 10 years, there's no lead.
I mean, there is technically a lead with the mother,
Technically,
with
but
the
not in
stepmother,
stone.
but she's not been indicted, nor
Not a
has she
legal lead.
fully been. They, I don't think they named her their primary suspect.
I
And
did want to. We've been on air anchor for about 2 hours, and we know you love us and will listen to us for as long as possible. But we're gonna wrap it up. I'm gonna just give you a little statistic so we can end this. And please, this is if you don't comment on any episode of our show, this is the one that we want to hear from you about. We want to hear everything because this case is deep. So I want to thank the atg.wa.gov for posting this statistics, and they've labeled it as child abduction murder research. And I will post this in the comments below on our Facebook, and we'll try to upload it to every other platform you hear us from. But let me go on and read this, and then we'll close out. This this report was made in 2006, and it was a child abduction murder study. It said in late 1993, the Criminal Division of the Washington State Attorney General's Office undertook a 3.5-year research project, partially funded by the U.S. Department of Justice, Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention, to study the investigation of child abduction murder cases. I'm going to skim a little bit and go down just to the bullet points. You can read the full article in the comments. So they basically say with these cases that with when they researched more of the killers, they found that threat that the killer would be a friend or acquaintance was nearly equal to that of a stranger. Take that with a grain of salt. The probability that the killer's name will come up during the first week of investigation is typically decreased. The use of pornography by killers to trigger a murder has typically increased. We're going to keep on going. And the key findings, they say 74% of missing children homicide cases The child murder victim typically is female and typically around 11 years old. In 44% of the cases studied, the victims and killers were strangers, but in 42% of the cases, victims and killers were friends or acquaintances. Only about 14% of the cases that they've studied involved parents or intimates in killing the child. Um, Almost two-thirds of the killers in any of these cases have priors for either violent crimes or they have crimes committed against children.
I sneezed.
Finally, um, the primary motive for child abduction is usually sexual assault. In nearly 60% of the cases, more than 2 hours pass between the time someone realizes a child is missing and before the police were notified. In our case, it was a long time.
It was at the end of the school day.
Yeah. In 76% of missing children in homicide cases studied, the child was dead within 3 hours of the abduction. And in 88.5% of the cases, the child was dead within 24 hours. So the likelihood of Kyron being alive to this day is very slim, but it's not uncommon. We've seen a lot of abductions where the abductee has lived a life in solitude, and at his age he probably would not have progressed much mentally, but we've seen mainly where it's women held captive for a while and they're repeatedly raped and beaten and they birth children of these perpetrators. So they want you guys to protect your children by being aware that they're not immune to the abduction. What the fuck? You got to read that your own. Basically, they're saying they're not immune because abductions happen close to home. And how close was the school to their home? Not far. More
And
than
we
half
know that it's literally common sense. And we will tell you that with any case that we have that pertains to a child, whether it's my solved case or whether it's Amber's unsolved case, we constantly tell everybody there is no harm. We encourage you to completely be aware of everything that your child does, whether it's at home, whether it's their electronics, who they're talking to online, whether it's even if you put a location on their phone when they get older. Like, it really could save them
be all up in their
if you are
business.
the up the butt kind of parent.
Mm-hmm. And we say
And
this
then
in
you
almost every
say,
case. We end it with basically what they're saying now. They say be certain that your children are supervised. Exactly everything Arianne just said. Even if they're in your own front yard, even if they're
mm-hmm,
on your street. I don't let my kids go out of the house when they're with me because of the apartment that I live in. It is a secure lot building. We have a secure gate, but there's not adequate playing. So there's not, it's not really, even though it's safe, it's not really safe. But when they're out with Arianne, she lets them out, and without their grandmother, she lets them out. But they got to watch them like a hawk.
they definitely know they can, one, they don't go near any other person's apartment, regardless if they're going to a friend's apartment. They are not to go, period, whatsoever, unless I am walking with them. First
Mm-hmm.
off, they know it's so important to make sure you instill to your kids their safety. And you cannot be too wary of even just family members. And I kid you not, because family members also have friends that you don't know.
But family members are the worst.
And like I said, my parents, we had a code. Even my aunts and uncles had to tell me that code if they were to come and pick me up, if my mom wasn't doing it, or if my dad wasn't doing it. Like, they had to tell me a code that my parents had told them. And once I knew that, you know, that they knew that code, then I was able to go. But
Mhm.
It's better to be safe than sorry, is what my mom always said.
I'd rather be over. In conjunction with that supervision, they say nearly 1/3 of the abductions occurred within a half a block of the home. So if Arianne doesn't walk my child to the neighbor's house, there's a big chance another neighbor could take them. But also, her walking my child to that neighbor's house, there's a big chance that the neighbor won't allow my child to leave the house because it usually happens within that area. They also want you to teach your children not to ever approach a car. That is the biggest thing ever because that's where most of the sex trafficking comes from.
Don't have your kids be too friendly. Do not force your kids to be nice, to be completely nice to strangers.
Stranger
Don't do
danger.
it. Do not do it. Just don't. There's a difference between being nice and being polite and being excessively wanting to be friends with everybody without
Don't accept
being
anything.
standoffish.
Do
Like,
not
no.
do not accept any kind of toy from a stranger unless it's given to the parents. No candy, no nothing.
Yep. Like,
I would
the
accept
kids
food
know
from
they
a
have to
stranger.
come and ask me. They're like, hey, like their friends at my old place, they would always come and ask me, hey, they're having like a popsicle. Can I have one? No, we have
Nope.
popsicles our own in
We
our
have
freezer.
popsicles.
You can grab popsicles. I even got upset when they grabbed some popsicles for their friends. Like, I'm sorry, dude. One, they're for my kids. Two, period, you should not be accepting anything
From
from
anybody.
strangers.
Period.
These kids don't know me. Even though I'm nice and even though I'm not going to do that to kids, but still, it's just what you should be instilling in your
This is
kids. Don't
common
ever
sense.
take anything from strangers, regardless.
And then it goes on to say, beware of the strangers and unusual behavior in your neighborhoods. Always be alert. We always tell you guys to watch your surroundings for your safety, but also do that for your children. When you're walking them to the bus stop or you're getting in your car, always look around and see something doesn't look right. Most of the time, if you're watching cases unfold on TV, they'll say, well, there was a silver hatchback that sat outside for about a week straight. It's never been here before. It's sat here for about an hour or so, and then one day little Johnny was killed. Be very, very diligent on that because many child abductions are witnessed by people who do not realize that a crime is being committed. So that's somebody staking out the area. They're watching your routines of what's around. They're seeing when lights go out, when they come on. They're seeing when you walk your dog. They're seeing when your child goes to school, if they play. They're sitting in that car and they'll learn more about you than you even knew about you. So if something looks out of place, it is out of place. Be very careful. And then this one here is the most obvious. If a child is ever missing, call police immediately. An immediate response to a missing or abducted child is the difference between life and death. And that's true. And that's why the Amber Alert has been instated. And it is the most vital thing. Be on the lookout always, not just for your children, but all the children around you. Be diligent. I'm gonna get off my soapbox and post this, and y'all you do your research, keep up with this, read that book that lady put out this year, look at these shows that's going out. I don't believe that we have a Kyron today. I believe Kyron is dead, and I hate to say that, but
I believe he's been long dead, honestly.
mm-hmm.
I really do. And that's the really, really sad part.
Yeah.
He's been long dead. Because if you really think about it, this was at the beginning of the school time at 8:30 in the morning to 3:30 in the afternoon. You know how far you can go with a dead body in your car without anybody noticing?
And they say mostly the deaths of a child happens within that first hour. And if it doesn't, you got 24 hours. That's why it's important to go ahead and report that because immediately we can get FBI in.
To
And
make it worse, everything was so public that anybody could have, whoever killed, I'm gonna say killed Kyron and buried his body somewhere or hid his body, moved it. multiple times. Because if you think about it, they were moving locations, but they were only keeping it in a certain vicinity. Like I said, that's hours. That's from 8:30 to 3:30 in the afternoon, and longer than that. This person could have driven 3 whole cities into a next state within those few hours to bury a body.
And by then, by the time that they really got the investigation going underway, they could have driven out of the country if they wanted to. This has been the longest episode of our show's history, but it's not by lack of time management. It's by full detail. This is the most detailed case that we've ever had, solved or unsolved. And at this point, I really want to root from the top of my lungs justice for Kyron, but I feel like it will do no good.
Well, we may never know. We may never know. We're hoping that even if he has passed on, I think everybody has the same hope to give his mother, Desiree, a peace of mind that, I think in her head she already knows, but she just needs that
confirmation,
that verification, that what she was thinking is not crazy. So, I feel so sorry for her. Honestly, I really do, because I can't imagine a mother going through that and then going years without having a lick of answer.
And they've been in and out of public eye almost every single year since this happened. They've been on many different TV shows. They've been interviewed over and over again. Their lives have literally been ripped apart over and over and over. And Desiree is very right in saying she wanted the torture to end. I want the torture to end for her. Here in 2020, the torture still goes on for Desiree, and my heart goes out for her. Right. It's very sad. Out of the 2 cases, which one do you think is the saddest?
Both of them are equally sad in their own right. You honestly cannot just pick one over the other. You really can't, because they're both very different stories.
Vastly. I mean, one is so detailed and one has no details, and they're both.
But they're both sad in their own way, and they both do not have justice, and they both don't have any answers. And I mean, we can only suspect more than the other, honestly.
Yeah.
But other than that, you really can't compare both cases.
It is, yeah. You heard it straight. These cases are very uncomparable. For my anchor listeners, I have already posted case photos on our website. And for the second story for Kyron, it's actually a little video of a few pictures that I found, even with that age progression. And for our Facebook listeners and viewers, I will post it on Facebook as well as trying to get it to Instagram I can't post from my computer to Instagram, but I'm going to try to figure out how to get the video off.
You're going to have to email the video and open it up on your phone.
The thing is, I made it on the website. So I'm going to have to figure out how to extract it from the website and get it on. But so in our Instagram followers, if you only look at photos on Instagram, you'll just have to bear with me while I figure that out. But thank you, Facebook, for staying on as long as you have. We're not in our normal account, so I can't see how many viewers come in. I can't see Facebook interaction on our streaming platform. I just have to open up another tab if I want to go. So for Facebook, since I can't see you, I want to say thank you. Thank you for sticking it out as long as you can. Both cases are important. Both cases need justice,
and they need light shined on them, because I know you have not heard either one of them. Pass these stories on. Share this. Get this to as many people as you can, so we can get some kind of voice out there for both of these young children. For Anchor, thank you for listening to us for as long as you have. And please share this with your family and your friends. If you don't share anything that we've ever posted, this is the one to share. And with that being said, we're going to say Double A signing out.
Good night, guys. Oh, and we'll see you guys.